one of these people who believe that you're never really dead and gone until they stop telling stories about you, good or bad. I think all of our stories live inside the people who hear them. And I know this is first-person arts, but I've met a lot of people in my life who have lived interesting lives, who have fascinating lives, and those are the stories that I like to tell. Because there are people out there who need to be kept alive just a little bit longer. And that's why I want to tell you about Miss Peaky. I was working on a documentary down in Mississippi. This is back in the early 90s. And we were interviewing a woman named Miss Ida, who was over 100 years old, daughter of slaves. We were asking her about life under Jim Crow and what it was like to grow up as a sharecropper. We had set up for the interview in her little shotgun shack down in the Delta. She was in the front room and I had my equipment in the back room. Next to me was this great big overstuffed chair. And in that chair was this little tiny woman. And as Miss Ida would tell her stories, the woman in the chair would laugh and smile or shake her head. And if Miss Ida got a detail wrong or forgot a name, she'd holler it out to her. Now, being the sound man, I frown on this practice. So I'd have to give her the universal symbol for hush. And then she would give me the universal symbol for, oh, I'm terribly sorry. After a while, we had a break. I went over and introduced myself, and she told me to call her Miss Peaky. Now, Miss Peaky and Miss Ida were cousins, and they had lived together since their husbands had died. And we got to talking. And 92 was a big election year, so I said, Miss Peaky, are you gonna vote? And she said, oh dear, my people have always voted in every election they ever let us. She told me about how when she was a little girl, her father would get up very early in the morning, pack his Sunday clothes into his sack, and walk through the woods to the polls. He couldn't take the road because the road was populated by gangs of men whose job it was to dissuade colored folk from voting by any means necessary. So her father would walk through the woods to the polling place and duck into a stable and change into his Sunday clothes and go in and vote and get out as quick as possible. Because you didn't want to be there too late in the day because, you know, the folks who had gotten drunk the night before, the real angry, mean folks, would be there. And it wasn't good to be black and be voting. When they discovered that black folks were coming in through the woods, they brought in dogs and let them run in the woods. Miss Peaky said her father got run up a tree for half a day once till the dogs got hungry and lost interest. She had an uncle who lost an eye when he was hit in the side of the head with a brick for voting. I asked Miss Peaky, do you remember the first time you voted? She said, oh, of course, dear. The first time she voted, there were 2 ballot boxes, one for white, one for color. She knew that they were never going to get around to counting the ballots in the colored box, but she voted anyway. I said, Miss Peaky, I knew things were bad down here in Mississippi. I had no idea. And she said, oh no, dear, I moved down here in 1964. I was born and raised up north in Philadelphia. So if you think things can't change, look around you. If you think your vote doesn't count, I would just say, why would so many people be spending so much time and money to keep you from voting? It is literally the only thing they are afraid of. Thanks for your time and attention. Vote.